Hey everybody, Miss Burdacki here. Today we are going to take a break from our normal reading lesson to reflect on how we are as readers. So first, I'm just going to take you through 2 weeks of my reading log. I added a slide just with the covers of the text that I'm reading. So I'm reading On the Come Up, which is fiction, The 57 Bus, which is nonfiction, and then I'm reading Flying Lessons in the mentor text called Flying Lessons. So some of you might be reading that story too. Okay, so we got Monday on the come up, Tuesday on the come up, Wednesday the 57 bus, Thursday the 57 bus, Friday on the come up. I like to alternate between my books. Monday on the come up, Tuesday on the come up. Wednesday, I switched back to the 57 bus. Thursday as well. And then Friday, I started flying lessons. So, guys, I just wanted to give you a brief look at my reading log. As you can see, there were some entries that were a lot better than others. There were some entries where I just listed the title of the book, the author, and my pages, but I didn't answer a question. Sometimes, I just get caught up in the reading and forget to do a good writing entry. So that's something that I can improve upon. Okay, so what someone told me recently that makes a whole lot of sense is that if you want to get good at anything, you really have to practice it a lot, right? So right now I'm trying to learn how to play tennis, and I'm not terrible, but I'm not really good either. So I've been trying to practice tennis as much as I can, early in the morning, and just practice the skills that I know I need help with, and acknowledge the skills that I'm pretty good at. Like I have a pretty good serve. So that's good. So as a reader, you also need to take time to reflect and acknowledge what you're good at and what you can improve upon. And to help us do that today, we're going to look at this checklist called Ways to Grow as a Reader. So I'm going to take you through this checklist and just kind of talk you through how I feel about how I'm doing as a reader, because you're going to have to do this in the next session. Okay, so the first entry is plan a reading life, choose texts, make plans with other readers. I feel like I'm really good at choosing texts because I keep a running list of book recommendations and texts that I want to read, and I just keep that on my phone, so I always have it with me. Let's see. Do I make plans with other readers? I actually don't do that, but I do really like to read books that my friends are reading or have just read and recommended. Do I make time for reading? In long chunks or in stolen moments? I would say I'm really good at listening to audiobooks unscribed. That is the best way for me to take in literature. And it's because I like to do a couple things at once. So anytime I have chores to do around the house that aren't too noisy, I listen to a book. And I find this to be really enjoyable. As far as making time for reading, one thing that I want to improve is I always tell myself I'll read before bed. And then by the time, I get into bed, I can read about 3 pages and then I fall asleep. So I need to get better at that. Writing on the run as I read. I am definitely not good at that. Write more extensively to grow theories as I think back on reading. Okay, I guess when I have to write about my reading, I'm pretty good at it, but I don't do much of it on my own, so I could improve on that. Talk about a text in ways that help you see more. I think I'm pretty good at that. And then talk and think between texts. I do like to compare books to either other books or movies that I've seen, so I feel like I'm doing pretty well there. Okay, so I'm going to go into the student digital reader's notebook. Okay, and I want to show you the teacher model, which I wrote, because you will be doing this either later on in this session if we have time or in the next session. Okay, so directions say reflect on your current reading life. Are you reading the number of pages you set as a goal at the beginning of the year? Are you taking time to jot down important or confusing parts? Write down at least two goals that you have for yourself as you begin a new unit. Use the checklist on the right to help you. Okay, so the checklist is the same as the one that I just read, which is also in the lesson slideshow. And basically, this teacher model is just the written version of what I talked you through a minute ago. So I'll read it to you. In my reading life, I have a running list of books and short stories that I want to read on my phone, which is good because I don't have too much trouble choosing a book after I've finished one. I like to read books my friends are reading so that we can talk about them together. Plus, my friends usually have good recommendations. I always have time to listen to audiobooks because I play them when I'm doing chores around the house that aren't so noisy. However, I'd like to get better at scheduling time to read actual books. For example, I like reading before bed, but oftentimes I fall asleep after 3 pages. So here's my first reading goal. My first reading goal is to read for relaxation for 30 minutes after school so I don't fall asleep. I'm also not great at annotating and writing about my independent reading, as you saw in my reading log. So my second reading goal is to jot notes on Post-it notes near important, powerful, or confusing parts of the text so I can improve my writing. Okay, so as you can see, what I did was reflect on how I'm doing as a reader using this checklist. Okay, and I acknowledge the things that I was good at. Like I'm doing pretty well on certain things, listening to audiobooks and taking recommendations from friends, keeping a list. But the two things that I decided I could improve on realistically are to read for relaxation after work. So, I mean, that's easy because when I get home from school, I just need to chill and not talk to anyone. So, reading is the perfect thing for me to do. And I'm going to try to do that for 30 minutes a day. And then my second reading goal, to be honest, is going to be a little bit more difficult because I do love to just enjoy reading for the sake of reading. But I'm going to try hard to use Post-it notes to point out the important, the powerful, and the confusing parts of a text so that when I go into my reading log, I have better ideas to write about. And when I'm working with other readers or, my teacher, I can talk more eloquently about what I'm reading. Okay, so what I recommend you do, either at the end of this session, if you have time, or in the next session, is to read through the checklist, Ways to Grow as a Reader, and really think about your honest answers for these, right? You want to brainstorm the good things you're doing as a reader, and then also think of 2 goals at least that you'll have moving forward. Okay? And you guys are going to write your responses in this little book icon. So I wish you luck. I hope that you like what you're reading. And if you don't like what you're reading, ask your teacher or your friends for recommendations. All right. Have a nice time. We'll see ya.